The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
Back from vacation and ready to talk The Walking Dead. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're The Podcasting Dead. If you're new to the channel, please consider checking it out. We podcast about a little bit of everything from The Walking Dead to conspiracies to the paranormal to just everyday life. So feel free to check that out. Also, we'll give some information on our Patreon page, which is where you can get extra content for super cheap. But in the meantime, we were off last week. I was at the beach on vacation. JP was just doing his JP thing.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
But nonetheless, we're back in the saddle and ready to get back to business as usual. So normally on Mondays, we do Walking Dead What Ifs, which is where you ask us questions and we answer them as far as like what if scenarios, like what if Alpha and Negan went head to head, what if Shane would have survived past season 2, etc. In fact, you can go back to our YouTube channel and find all of those going all the way back to the beginning, which one of the first ones was the governor versus Negan, I do believe.
God, yeah.
Which was a cool discussion. But for right now, we're just going to talk about The Walking Dead in general, and then maybe next week we can get back to Walking Dead What Ifs. Don't forget to leave your Walking Dead What Ifs in the comments section of this podcast so we have some material to work with next week. And if we've missed some of your Walking Dead What If questions from past podcasts, now's the time to copy and paste them down in that comments section so that we can make sure we get to it next week. But as for right now, JP, we know we got the Walking Dead Season 10 finale set to air in October. And yes, I'm aware I said finale. I mean, I've been on vacation for a week, so my talking is not what it should be my radio voice. But anyways,
my talking ain't good.
My talking ain't good no more, and I lost my radio voice.
Oh, no.
But nonetheless, with it coming in October, one thing that kind of I think irritated some people is the fact that the World Beyond, that comes on immediately after the finale. So it seems like it's been prolonged just to help build up the viewership for this other show, and The Walking Dead, amongst many other shows. But it's not a stranger to doing that, to doing something people aren't that happy with in order to promote something else. And that might be more, sometimes it might be more AMC, but some people saying that they were happy to watch The World Beyond without having to wait so long for the finale, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, I am excited for both. How about yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm curious about this new show. I like the idea that they've got the story in the can. It's going to be, 2 seasons?
2 seasons last I read.
That's it. So that kind of makes me optimistic. It's not just going to be drug out and we're going to be dealing with a lady, weird trash people, or a lady poisoning water bottle. It won't be convoluted bull. Anyway, I think it will be good, yeah.
Whereas Fear the Walking Dead was definitely someone was in the studio like, hey, right now, while The Walking Dead's, hitting its stride, let's take advantage of that and create a new show that has nothing to do with it and make some more money. In which case, we did get a great season 3, which is one of my favorite Walking Dead anythings, but the rest of it's just been kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I loved Fear the Walking Dead up until they brought old Lenny James down there until Morgan joined the crew, which should have been awesome because Morgan's awesome, but it's not been very good in my opinion. It's like
mixing oil and water. It just didn't mix the way you would think it would. Man. You thought he would come in and but it just shows the difference in writing, I guess, because he is just not the character to. I don't know. It just didn't. But anyways, we've got many rants on how much we hate watching Fear the Walking Dead,
couple
seasons, at least the last last season or half, whatever. It's that's where we got the Barn of Pleasures from. Which, if you're new to the channel, the Barn of Pleasures is something I'm sure you will hear referenced at some point before this ends, and it's just a barn where all the Walking Dead characters have massive group orgies. But back to the topic at hand. So, do you think a lot of people speculating, man? I think that this finale we're going to see Gabriel go out.
I think Gabriel's going to get whacked.
And spoilers for the comics. But we're going to spoil the comics. So you've been warned. Please don't whine about it in the comments, which if you want to, go right ahead anyways. But I think we're going to see Father Gabriel. Did I say Morgan?
I thought you said Gabriel.
Okay, Gabriel. I might have. Again, vacation
know.
brain. We're going to probably see Father G get gutted much in the way that he did. Now, in the comics, old Father G was up on a water tower, which is what a lot of people were pretty, ramped up about in the beginning of last season because old Eugene was up on the water tower and hurt his ankle. It was much worse for Father G, though. He was on the water tower, and he's climbing down, and all of a sudden he slips and gets one of the worst ankle breaks of all time. And as he's laying there in massive pain, Beta walks up to him and decides to just gut him. And then old Father G gets eaten down to nothing by the walkers. So, being that we already had the water tower, and though he didn't break his ankle much in the same way, we had Eugene sustain a leg injury from the tower. I feel like that it's not going to be the same. Do you think that, it could be, Father G could climb up that tower to fix some radio equipment or something. What do you think? Do you think that it's going to be, do you think that was foreshadowing, or do you think that was kind of them nodding to the comics and then they're going to kill Father G in another way?
No, I think he's going to go out exactly like it happened. I think he's going to slip on the same thing that Eugene did, only it's going to end up a lot worse.
So you're thinking that was definitely foreshadowing, that he's going to go up on the same water tower to try and fix some, like maybe radio equipment or something. He's going to come down, slip, snap his ankle, and Beta's going to put him out.
Precisely, and I think that Rosita's going to see it happen.
Well, God, could you imagine if she found him afterwards? Because there was we saw him afterwards. There was nothing. They ate him down to bone.
All she's gonna find is his preacher collar, and that's it. Does he still wear that? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he does.
Yeah. I mean, forgive me for having to think on that. Walking Dead. It's been so long from doing the episodes.
And I haven't went back and rewatched any from this past season.
I am. I actually was going to do that yesterday. That was my plan, was to go back and rewatch this season, and then I got into that show.
Ozark?
No, the one with the blind girl who's trying to solve her friend's murder. It's actually pretty good, but it basically just reminds me of Jessica Jones, only she doesn't have superpowers and she's blind. But it's a good show. But I also started Umbrella Academy Season 2. Which I want to finish here soon. But after that, before the finale, I'm going to go back and rewatch this season.
You got a little bit of time.
Do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see Connie reemerge with all this gap in time? Even if they wanted to, they could. Which I don't know. They've got restrictions, I'm sure, on shooting with COVID-19 and everything.
I think it'll be next season before we see her. I don't think they're going to straight up heath her and she'll just never be seen again, but I think it's going to be next season.
I just assume kill the character if that's what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Because they can always make a cast model of the character like dead and eaten or something. I mean, just give us some closure on some of these characters. And unless Heath, and I know that they leave it open-ended sometimes because they hope to bring the person back at some point. In Heath's case, the actor was going off to play on the 24 show, and I think they were just hoping to pull him back in when he got free, and it don't look like that really ever happened unless we're going to see him pop up in the Rick movies. But I did read an interesting interview with Robert Kirkman where he was talking about how much effort they're putting into these Rick movies. Like, they're putting just everything into them because, number one, it's the first time they've done movies. Number two, it's Andy Lincoln and Rick Grimes. Most people's favorite part of The Walking Dead, and that these movies are definitely going to live up to the hype, that they're not just slapping together a movie for the sake of having a movie. Like, they know if this fails, it's not going to be a good thing. So they are really working hard to make this just be as awesome and badass as it possibly can be, and also to give us more on the story. And I don't get, they say Rick's going to survive all three movies, so I just don't get how, and it's going to be interesting, man.
I hope so. But yeah, if these movies flop, man, that's the nail in the coffin. Like, the Walking Dead TV franchise is over, man. I don't think there'll be any bouncing back from it.
Well, no, especially after, all the hype on it. So we'll see about that. But, Heath might pop up back in that. I mean, I've heard Jadis is going to be on it. We've now heard, I've even heard whispers that Michonne is coming back to The Walking Dead, which also, when I saw that, the only source I've seen it on is We've Got This Covered.
Oh, yeah.
And they've been less than accurate on some things that they've said in the past. So
they're my go-to, man.
I know they're your go-to, and they're not that if I see it on like Screen Rant or like I see it on, I don't know, IGN or there's lots of other places when I see it, I'm like, okay, now this might not just could be speculation, but a lot of times they're pretty on point for the most part. IGN is kind of taken a hit in the last few years, but we got this covered is just kind of like they hear a guy in the bar say, "Yeah, I hear Michonne's coming back to that show." Instantly, it's an article.
Well, I love that they cite their sources. They're like the guy that told us that Ben Affleck would be Batman told us this, and I'm just like, man, this is like insider stuff, man.
I hope they're right, but they definitely say the show may be coming back to The Walking Dead in the next season or two. We know Maggie's going to reappear.
Yeah, she's on her way back. We've got some mysterious masked figure.
Sickle
weapons.
I wonder if that's going to be a new character or if that's going to be like could that be Mercer?
Possibly.
If you don't know who Mercer is, Mercer again, comic spoilers, but Mercer is this awesome character from the comics that shows up during the Commonwealth story arc. He's pretty much like the head of security for the Commonwealth. They have their own little military and he's kind of in charge of it, and he's kind of like Pamela's right hand, but he's not exactly happy with Pamela. Blah, blah, blah. It's his whole story arc, but he looks a lot like Mr. T, and he's freaking awesome. Like, he's an absolute badass. And, when the whole masked guy or gal with the sickle showed up, everybody's like, it's Connie. And I'm like, man, if Connie shows up and is now, just like Morgan, disappears for a while, comes back and is mastered a bow staff, which I know it's just a stick, but he's gotten martial arts training with it. And if we have another character that shows up and is like, I have learned the powers of the sickle, man, it would be much better instead of taking an existing character and trying to give him this new identity and skill. Let's just bring in a character like Mercer, who viewers of the show might not be familiar with. That you don't need background on why they're a master of the sickle. They're just a master. Some people saying it's going to be Morgan's son, Dwayne, after all these years. Some saying that, it could be one of those things where he says that, he tells Rick that the mother comes to the door and opens it and she's just all on Dwayne. And he's like, all I see is red, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he just lost his mind and went crazy. But what he didn't see was Dwayne actually escaped unbitten. So, I mean, I think the Dwayne thing would be a bit of a stretch. I really hope they don't do that because, again, it's just a bit too out there, but it is a show about dead people eating living people, so.
Yeah, but just keep it in the real world.
What if it's Rick?
Oh,
I learned hey, Aaron, I learned a new skill while I was on the helicopter.
Jeez, man.
You like my sickles? They ain't popsicles, though. Don't lick them.
Nothing would surprise me at this point. Nothing, but I don't know. And they don't really give us any clues as to where this masked person pops up. Is it on the road?
I think that's going to... It's in the woods, the way it looked in the... I mean, from the way it looked on the promo, it looked like Aaron and Alden encountered him or her in the woods, as they're like kind of fighting some whisperers and such. And... I mean, that definitely, if it was Mercer, that'd be a great way to bridge the gap to the Commonwealth. Like, there's Mercer. Maybe he's out on a scouting mission, whatever. Maybe they spotted a big herd, whatever. My vote would be, I really like to think it's going to be Mercer. There's also a character in the mobile game that people are, which if they bring some little BS minor character from the mobile game into the show, and they don't bring Clementine from the Telltale Walking Dead game series, which if you've never played, Clementine and Lee, it's so many good characters in that show, but I in that game, but I would love to see Lee or Clementine, as long as Duck don't come into it. If you played the game, you know who Duck is. He's like the most annoying kid ever, and I felt no sympathy when he met his end.
Oh, God.
But... Kenny was his father. Bring Kenny into the show, man. Like, it's a lot of great characters from that people have been begging to bring into the show. I hope they're not going to bring some minor character from a mobile game that not many people played versus, a big franchise like Telltale's The Walking Dead that everyone's just been begging for some kind of crossover. But my vote's going to be on something like Mercer.
And you think it could also be Madison Clark?
I mean, some people saying that, but I don't think
You're
so.
not in
That's a
that
stretch, too. No, I don't think
You
so.
don't even have a foot in the camp.
No, I'm not even in sight of the camp.
Oh, jeez.
I don't even see their campfire over the horizon.
Jeez, man.
Is that what you're thinking, Madison? Is that your vote? You think it's going to be Madison?
You're being rough on an old boy this morning. I think that the odds are, pretty likely.
Again, the top candidates I've heard are Dwayne, Madison,
Okay.
Connie,
Yeah.
and Maggie, which we already see Maggie separate, so I don't know why she is, we saw her with her nice little Indiana Jones hat, and she's reading the letter that everyone she knows and loves is now dead, and people are fighting people wearing dead people with skin on their face. So I don't know why they would have her reappear masked, but then show her in the previews. That would just be kind of redundant. Like, it'd be different if they showed the masked figure with the sickles and then you never saw the Maggie thing. And then that's Maggie. Like, boom, Maggie's back. Oh, wow. And she's also picked up a martial arts skill. Seems like they're handing those out at every corner now.
Could it possibly be Rick's brother from France?
That would be cool. Now, I hadn't seen as much emphasis on that, but like I said, I've seen Dwayne, Madison, Maggie, and I'm throwing Mercer into the ring. I haven't really seen. I'm sure somebody has said Mercer, not that I have seen, but I'm sure someone out there is. There's a camp saying it's Mercer. I'm voting Mercer, but Rick's brother would be really cool. He had his own little one shot in the comics. He was in Spain, I think,
something like that. Yeah.
You never. I mean, he spoilers. He survives. In the comics, so they definitely could maybe put emphasis on Rick's brother. But I don't know, man. I'm voting Mercer. You're voting Madison?
Yes. I think she's going to have a form of amnesia, and that she more or less just kind of like wakes up in a
I survived a fire.
Yeah.
And I woke up, and all of a sudden I just knew how to use curved blades really well. And I'm looking for somebody. I just don't know who.
And she's got like a burn scar, and that's kind of like a conduit to try to reclaim her memories.
If she had like a burnt face and that's why she wore the mask, that would be pretty cool.
Not her beautiful face.
That would be pretty cool. That would explain the mask.
So you're going with Madison now?
No, I'm not. I don't think for a second it's going to. I'm not saying a crossover is not going to happen between Fear and The Walking Dead. In fact, at this point, as terrible as Fear the Walking Dead is, the only way they're going to save any face on that show is, granted, unless this new season just comes around and blows my mind, is to cross it over with The Walking Dead to save some of those actors' jobs. But I definitely don't think it would be Madison.
The trailer for this season does look
now
pretty impressive.
It could be someone like Alicia. I mean, you got to think the Fear of the Walking Dead's behind The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead's had time jump, and from what I hear, we're going to get another time jump after this season. So, I mean, it definitely could be an older, seasoned Alicia, showing up. So that would be interesting. I would vote Alicia before I vote Madison, but I'm thinking it's going to be Mercer. And that's how they're going to kind of bridge the gap to the Commonwealth. Because unless Maggie went to the Commonwealth, which I think I've read that she wasn't at the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I've heard that too, that Georgie was not affiliated with them. She was just a wise lady, probably with a little hippie commune.
Yeah.
And, Maggie's kind of become like a flower child of sorts.
She's going to come back stoned. I don't shave my armpits anymore, guys. Nor my legs. I hear that Jesus is dead.
Oh.
And I'm just here to see if I can't coax the Whisperers into some flower power. And by flower, I mean marijuana. Marijuana's not a flower, but we call it a flower. No, I mean, she does have the cool hat. I wouldn't wear this hat before I tried marijuana. Oh, man, I don't know. But what do you think about Maggie's return? Take it or leave it? Are you excited to see her?
I mean, they kind of botched and bullied her character up so much in that last season. I don't know that I really care much about it or not.
I'm personally excited to see Maggie come back, but I completely understand why Maggie started getting some haters towards the end. Because, I mean, during All Out War, we had your back, Maggie. You know what I'm saying? Like, they killed Glenn in a horrible way. We were rooting for you. And I completely understand why she was upset that Rick didn't kill Negan when he had the chance. But just that whole, we're going to show him. And then, of course, Daryl, like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And, that whole scene was unnecessary. Like, we didn't even need that.
No,
I mean, all it was trying to make us think, oh, my God, is she going to kill Rick? I mean, I would have been perfectly fine if she was sitting there saying, like, we let everybody get comfortable and when we have our chance, we finish the job. Rick refused to start. I'm cool with that because there was no hinting towards, I mean, they made it almost seem as if she was going to go to war with Rick, that she was going to kill Rick. And then you had Daryl who, Rick told him, you're my brother. It's like, yeah, we are. That was so stupid. Like, it should have just been Maggie, like, we bide our time, we let everything get back to normal, and when they let their guard down, we finished the job Rick refused to, we finished what Rick refused to. Basically letting us know that, okay, she's really still trying to kill Negan. It just, I don't know, they really did kind of take her character, and just for the sake of, I guess, of building some kind of cliffhanger. Walking Dead needs to stop the cliffhangers. We don't need them.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They just piss people off when they do cliffhangers, it seems.
Yeah, there's just no sense in it, I mean, we'll come back. You don't have to leave us hanging.
I mean, we've harped on this so many times, but, I'm sure plenty of fans out there have done the same. But, again, back to the season 6 finale. That was so stupid to leave that on a cliffhanger after making, we all thought we were going to see someone get their brains bashed in that night. They leave, it's like irony. They leave it on a cliffhanger so that they can bring back the huge numbers and views on that first episode. But what ended up happening was because of that cliffhanger, that's where most of the people that I talked to who quit watching The Walking Dead, when I asked them, like, well, when did you stop? After the whole Negan killing them thing, you know what I mean? Like, they waited so long for it. Like, had you have just ended the season with it, we would have just been, like, begging for more. Oh, my God, I can't wait till next season. But because you distrusted your own fans so much, you ended up losing a big portion of them.
I mean, it might have been okay for a mid-season finale at most, but to do that to us, a lot of people just, a show can lose credibility with fans. Once the trust is gone.
Oh, yeah, you made us wait like 8 months or something like that. I mean, like you said, I agree with you 100%. A mid-season finale would have been totally different because you're only talking like a month and a half, 2 months max, and we'll find out who got the. I really think what they should have done if I wrote the show was we would have saw Abraham die, and it would have ended, with Negan taunting whatever, or even maybe you see Daryl get up and punch Negan, and that's where it ends. So, I mean, you saw who died, you got that kind of satisfaction, and then you're like, oh, God, what's going to happen to Daryl, blah, 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 blah. Then when you come back, you think you're safe because Abraham's been killed, and all of a sudden we get the Glenn in the premiere. Yeah. Separating them like that would have been fine because it just, anyways. But so... I don't know, man, and I'm kind of nervous on what kind of cliffhanger they're going to leave on this one. Some cliffhangers are fine. I mean, say you have, the season ends with a lady surrounded by security rolling up and saying, "Hi, I'm Pamela." I'm cool with that. Cool, like that's the kind of cliffhanger I'm fine with. Oh boy, we're really getting into the Commonwealth next season, but. Anytime they try these big cliffhangers or to try and stir the pot a little bit it just doesn't seem to go well for them. Yeah,
I mean, there's a big difference between like building anticipation and just leaving us hanging, so to speak.
Right.
And I don't like it.
But yeah, the Maggie cliffhanger, which I mean, I call that a cliffhanger. Some might not. But the Maggie thing, we're going to teach Rick a lesson. And then Daryl being like, yeah, we are. I don't know why he sounded like, yeah, we are. Ooh, Maggie.
I don't know what's happening to him.
And they're going to the Barn of Pleasures. Oh, no, we found one of those secret Mario whistles, and we're teleporting to the Barn of Pleasures. Oh. Speaking of which, while I was on vacation, somebody had their Nintendo Switch there.
Nice.
And you can go in, and we were playing Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh man!
And playing like old games that were available from the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. It was on the TV.
Oh wow!
Like hooked it up to the TV. It was super cool. I figured you would enjoy that. JP here is not much of a modern gamer. He's more of a retro gamer. He loves Nintendo and Super Nintendo. So we were playing your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have to get. I've been wanting to get a Switch. They have some really cool platforms.
Everybody is now. Everybody on that trip, I think, is going to get a Switch because, of course, we spent some time playing like Mario Kart.
Well, y'all were rained in for a night too.
Oh yeah, it hurricane one night. But anyways, so The Walking Dead, I don't know. So any other death predictions? So we think Father G is going to bite the dust this episode. Of course, I think if you read the comic, you're pretty certain that Beta is going to die. which might not be the case. I feel like I feel like we're gonna definitely see the Negan and Beta brawl. I feel like that's going to happen, and then I feel like we're gonna have. I feel like Abraham and Jesus are going to take their same role. Again, comic spoilers, but if you don't want to hear them, tune out and come back in a few minutes. But I feel like we're going to have, in the comics, Jesus and Aaron were the ones to take out Beta. And I feel like Aaron and Alden are going to be the two to kind of finish the job.
Oh, man, you really think so?
I think they'll give a nod to that. Maybe not. I could be wrong. But, they did have, like, Aaron learning Kung Fu and stuff. So, I mean, he might take the Jesus role, and then Alden will be the one to finish him off. I mean, I just feel like they're doing a little bit of foreshadowing with that, with them being up in the silo and Beta being right there, and they've been kind of tracking him and stuff. So, but I think we're going to see the Negan and Beta brawl. I think Beta's going to die. Now, I think it would be cool to deviate from the comics a little bit, maybe have Beta survive and just go away for a while. Like, you see at the very end, that would be a cool cliffhanger I'm okay with. Beta survives, but perhaps we're not going to run into him for another season or two. He's just something you could put in your back pocket, take some time really writing up his story, and make, like, this awesome return. Even if it is just, like, for like 1 or 2 episodes just to be another threat. I don't know. I think it's cool sometimes deviating from the source material if you do it the right way. But I think Beta's definitely going to die. Along with the rest of the Whisperers.
Yeah, it would be cool. Leave it kind of like an old Jason movie, like you see his mask on the ground and there's blood and you see someone staggering off and you assume maybe he's turned, but then at the very end, like he opens his eyes and he's still alive and he sinks his knife into somebody's butt. I don't know.
I mean, it would be because I really dug the episode where he sneaks into Alexandria. Like, that was awesome. That had like a Halloween, Friday the 13th feel to it. Beta just creeping through Alexandria, killing people.
Exactly.
And if they take him out, they take him out. I completely understand closing that chapter and being done with the Whisperers. I mean, without Alpha, it ain't quite the same either. I loved Alpha, man. I thought that she was played and portrayed so much, so very different from how I imagined, but so well. You know what I mean? Like, definitely, I didn't get that vibe from a comic Alpha. I felt was more like she might have been a sophisticated lady at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just very intelligent, very calm, very matter-of-factly. Basically, one of her things was she was dealing with a bunch of people who were dumber than she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could have seen her being like a college professor or something. And the way they played her in the show was a lot more creepy and just a little unhinged. But I was okay with it. Like, I really liked TV Alpha. I thought that, and I always say her name right, it's Samantha Morton, I believe. I think I was calling her Samantha Morrison for a while. Samantha Morton really just kicked ass with that character and just really... very much in the same way that David Morrissey did the governor.
Yeah.
Just made this memorable impact on the show that even though they're gone and they don't need to be brought back, you still very much miss them on the show.
Do you think that Carol's alpha hallucinations will continue?
Gosh, I hope, man. I wouldn't mind, even if it was like a sign-off. Even if like she just saw Alpha kind of like disappear this episode, like ridding herself of Alpha, that would be really cool.
What do you think she has to do to get Alpha out of her head?
Die.
What? Carol has to die?
No. At this point, I really wouldn't care, though. And that's not a slight at Melissa McBride. I think she plays Carol awesome. And I like the character of Carol, but I'm just kind of over Carol, man. We've seen her... she just, I don't know. It's just kind of the same old song and dance with her. I'm just really ready to not be focused on Carol anymore. We've had plenty of this, of the characters on this show. We've spent a lot of time with Carol. We've seen her go through a lot of changes. She's had a lot of character progression. Like, I get it, but I'm just ready for a story that does not focus on Carol at all. And I feel like the only way they're really going to get that is to kill her, but maybe they can make her a side character or just... I don't know. I'm really kind of over the Carol thing.
So she's on your death list for the season finale.
I mean, you got to think she does feel guilt for the possible death of Connie.
Well, how is she going to go out?
Maybe she'll sacrifice herself. Maybe because, I mean, if anything, Magna That group is angry with her for it. Daryl a little bit. So, I mean, maybe she'll sacrifice herself in a way to save Daryl or save Magna. Which, then again, though, if Carol dies to save Magna, I'd be pissed because I don't give two shits about Magna.
Right,
like,
yeah, do it in a better way than that.
Cool comic character, really enjoyed her. Don't really care much for her on the show. Just haven't built her up in the same way, I guess. But she just seems more like a moody teenager than she does a character that, like, I know she's going through something and we're supposed to sympathize with her and grow with her, but I just feel more like she's a whiny teenager than I do a character that is faced with some
that's
I don't know.
Mildly.
And I like Yumiko. I really don't. I just haven't really. I don't dislike Yumiko. Now, between Magna and Yumiko, I like Yumiko much better, but just haven't really gotten attached to her either.
No. No.
But I don't know, man. What do you think about King Ezekiel? I mean, he's got the cancer. I mean, I know he's not with them in the big battle, but something could still happen.
I think he's going to be all right. I think he's going to make it and persevere. I think he'll be there to the last episode, like, of the series itself, if they ever decide to end it.
And I know it's kind of contradictory that I say the masked person could be Mercer, because I do know that our arc to the Commonwealth is Princess and Yumiko and Eugene and King Ezekiel. But I don't know, man. I don't know, but I definitely think that Father Gabriel's going to die. I think Beta's going to die. Some people saying Negan's going to die. Some people saying they're not going to do, because in the comics, that's basically it. I mean, in the comics after, which I know these come at way different times. In the comics, he had his Maggie moment after the Whisperer War was over with, whereas in the show, he had that much earlier on. And then, now it's all these years later, but there really is nothing for them to go off of in the comics at all for Negan past this point, because he just disappears in the comic, and we kind of briefly see him a little bit at the end of the series, at the end of the comic series, and then we had that one standalone Negan Lives. So a lot of people saying they're going to take him out, or either, much like the comics, he's just going to disappear. I think that would be a big mistake, because I think Negan's one of the best things going on the show right now, and it would be a terrible mistake not to take it, because people were begging for more Negan. And I know they say always leave them wanting more, but I mean, in a show like The Walking Dead, I think it's gotten back up to being awesome, but it's also, you got to realize you're on a slippery slope. Like, the ice is thin. You've lost a lot of fans. The writing hasn't been the best at certain points, and now you've got Negan really drawing people in and just loving him as one of the leading men on the show. I hope they keep that momentum up.
Yeah, that'd be about as dumb as when they killed Carl. Unless it's just another case of Jeffrey Dean Morgan wanting to leave the show. Now that I would buy.
It'd be totally badass if he went out sacrificing himself for Jude. My main thing is, if they're going to kill Negan, I want them to do it in a way that everyone sees. I don't want him to just die in the battle. Everybody already knows, but I want them to see. Like, Negan's whole thing is being reformed. I mean, Negan's had multiple chances to go back to being king shit, and he's not done it. He had a chance, had Daryl on his knees, and had new followers. He could have easily just started a new cult of Negan,
was the alpha.
And he instead saved Daryl and put himself in a position where he could once again be in prison. I mean, he's done. Went after Judith. Risked his life to go save Judith. So Negan's done. I don't want a Jaime Lannister situation, of course. I don't want him to go back and do all of these redeeming things just to go back to his old ways, because screw character development. But at the same time, if he dies, it needs to be in a heroic way that everyone sees, so that the memory of Negan is left as one of redemption. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I hope they don't kill Negan off, man. I really want. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is just awesome. Of all the actors on the show, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is would be on the top list for me of people I would love to meet.
Do you think
and Corey Payton is King Ezekiel. Corey Payton just seems like a really, really cool guy.
He was going to be at a Comic-Con not too far from us that, of course, got canceled because of coronavirus. I think Jerry might have been up there. I can't remember, but yeah.
I'd love to meet Jerry too. Corey Payton is one of my top. I mean, of course, Andy Lincoln. Who don't want to meet Rick Grimes himself? But I mean, as far as just interaction with fans and. Andy Lincoln seems like a great, awesome guy, too. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I don't know, man. Him and Corey Payton just seem so silly and warm. I don't know. I feel like they'd be a great fan experience to meet, or a great interview.
The bad thing about Andrew Lincoln, of course, is he lives in England, so it'll be harder for us to see him.
And despite how many times I call him, he will not answer.
No, he ain't going to answer. No.
But I don't know. I think Beta's going to bite the dust. It's people that I've heard whispers of biting the dust. pun intended, whispers. I've heard Negan's going to die. I've heard King Ezekiel's going to die. I've heard that Beta, Father Gabriel. Who else? I've heard Rosita's going to bite the dust. I heard Rosita is going to get Andrea's death from the comics. That Rosita, spoiler alerts again, sorry. I mean, it's just kind of hard to discuss where we think the show's going to go without drawing on the comic. So if you don't want spoilers from the comic, then I would advise not watching or listening to podcasts like this. But I could see that. I could see it. That's just going to suck for little Coco, though. Yeah. His dad's dead. His stepdad's dead. Now his mom's dead.
Yeah,
I say his. Is Coco a boy or girl? I am so sorry for the diehards that are like, you should know this. I don't remember, to be honest.
It's been a long while, but no, that could maybe happen next season. I don't think it's going to happen in this season.
Which I wouldn't want her to die without Eugene being there. Exactly. That'd be terrible. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like Eugene's got, but a lot of people saying Rosita is going to die. I think my main predictions will definitely be Beta and Father G. I don't know about King Ezekiel yet. I feel like he's going to get to the hilltop. I mean, to the Commonwealth, and they're going to actually, because the Commonwealth is very advanced. I mean, it's basically real life, regular, normal life, just surrounded by gates and, played with hierarchy systems. But, at the same time, I could definitely see him getting there. And when mentioning he's dying of cancer, they tell him, well, we can treat that. So I don't know. Perhaps they will save King Ezekiel, but I definitely think Father G and Beta are my big two. Who else could you see going out?
Man, I'm on the fence as to whether Beta's really going to die or not. That's number one. And number two, man, I feel like one of the someone from the new group is going to go, whether it's...
It better not be Luke.
I know. I was getting ready to say it, but I was like, man, I know you don't want
Luke
to hear that.
If Luke dies now, Luke could be one of, not the future of the show, but you've got a great cast of characters that could lead the show into more. Luke is one of those characters. Luke, much like Jesus, I feel is being underutilized. Now, I didn't love his character in the comic near as much. What's his name? Dan Fogel, I think, is the guy that plays him. I might be wrong on that.
Sounds right.
But he has just made this character so lovable and just such a great character. And to be killed before he can really hit his stride is, and I know we've had moments with him and he really is just a side character. But I mean, come on. If you're going to kill someone from the new group, let it be Magna or Yumiko or.
Yeah. I can see one of them going.
And Kelly, I don't want to see Kelly go now. I've really gotten to like Kelly. We've gotten to know her better. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I like Connie. Don't really care much for her sister Kelly. Hadn't got to know, but now that we've seen the actress, she's a great actress. I mean, the scene where she thought Connie was dead, I'd like to see her more in the show. I think she's a great character, and I'd like to see her stick around. She's got potential. So does Luke. Luke's smart. I want to see more intellectual sparring matches between him and Eugene. We got a little taste of it. And Luke's brave. He's caring. He's got a lot of heart. They do not need to kill Luke off right now. If they do, I feel like if it's not because he wants to leave the show, it's purely for shock value, which is a big mistake because Luke, Negan, a lot of these characters really could be the future of your show. Like now's the time to go weed whacking. Just take out the ones that aren't really doing anything for the show. Magna, Yumiko, oh man, that would be sad and shocking because we've kind of gotten to know them a little bit, but whatever, we can live without them. The big gasp would be Father G and Beta, but please don't kill Luke.
I don't think Magna's going to go. I could see Yumiko, perhaps. But
Yeah, I definitely, I feel like you're right, though. I feel like Luke's going to bite the dust, and I don't want to see Luke die. I like Luke a lot.
I feel like they're gonna. Yeah, I feel like they're gonna kill one of the kind of quirky, fun-loving characters. And I don't think it's gonna be Jerry.
You know what? Maybe no. I think.
You think?
I think Jerry. If I had to vote between Luke or Jerry, I think Jerry because we've seen Jerry have a close call.
Yeah.
And he survived it. I feel like, and we know that Jerry will put himself in front of others. He's a brave, very kind-hearted person. I feel like Jerry, I could definitely see him sacrificing himself in some kind of way at some point, or maybe not. Maybe it'd just be tragic. I feel like as someone, I do write as a hobby. Obviously, I don't publish anything because it's not that good.
Not yet.
But I do think sometimes you need characters like that don't die in a heroic, You really need to hit them with, you really need to, it just needs to, I mean, that's real life. People do good people do die suddenly. I mean,
kind of like Tyrese.
It don't need to be done all the time, but a character like Jerry, that could be very heartbreaking. Instead of some big build up and sad music and him saving people as he dies, just to have them in the middle of a fight and all of a sudden just Jerry just gets a blade to the back of the throat and, holy crap, there goes Jerry, But I believe between Luke and Jerry's had a lot more screen time. We've gotten to know Jerry a lot more. We love Jerry.
I'd like it to open up kind of like an episode of 6 Feet Under. Jerry just kind of slips getting out of the shower and, just cracks his neck. That's it. It's like, oh, shit.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I would definitely say my top 3 now, I'm going to say perhaps Jerry. Okay. Not that I want him to go. I love Jerry, man. Don't. I love him. I don't want Jerry to go. I know you and I were watching the episode in the cave together, and we both were like, no, Jerry, no.
God, that one was cool.
Imagine King Ezekiel in your head. No, Jerry. Push. The bond of pleasures need you.
He was in my head, but believe me.
The Barn of Pleasures will never be the same. And for those new to the channel, the Barn of Pleasures, Jerry dresses up like Shiva for King Ezekiel.
Yeah, he's a big old tiger.
And what do we say? The tail is connected to
it's like a butt plug, yeah. And those exist. So, yeah.
Tiger tails attached to butt plugs?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Do people like to just rip those things out? Wouldn't that be dangerous for your rectum?
Well, you don't just rip it out, but it's just kind of I'll show you some stuff when we get off the podcast.
No, you won't. I don't want to see it. Yeah. I don't want to see it.
Anyway, yeah. I think Jerry could be on a short list. He's on your short list.
Yeah, I think the big 2, Beta, Father Gabriel. The possibilities, Rosita, imagine the heartbreak of Eugene getting the news that Rosita died, though. I mean, you would want Eugene there, but at the same time, imagine the heartbreak of him getting a radio transmission that Rosita's dead.
Because he's still, he's not.
And maybe he'll raise her baby. Maybe that's the deal. They'll get the baby to him, at the Commonwealth, and he's going to raise it there for Rosita. You could have Yumiko and Magna get back together, and they raise the baby. I mean, who knows? But... definites, Father Gabriel and Beta. Possibilities, Rosita, Luke, Jerry, Negan.
Oh, gosh, not Negan.
They kill Negan, man. Because, you never know. In the comics, Negan and Beta go at it, and it's a pretty gnarly brawl, and Negan definitely gives him the business at certain points. But, Beta's a big beast. But, it could end this time with Negan dying. It could be maybe Beta corners Judith or something.
It could be, man. I don't know if I'll keep watching if they do it like that.
And then he actually loses in the fight.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, we'll find out in October, right? October or September? October.
It's October. Yeah. We'll find out when The Walking Dead returns, and totally expect not only reviews of The Walking Dead, but we'll also be doing reviews of episodes of The World Beyond. We're going to start now that we're back from vacation and back in the full swing. We're going to start doing watch parties we talked about, like once a month, something where we're going to, go back and rewatch the show.
Right.
With whomever wants to join us. Like we'll watch maybe 4 or 5 episodes at a time, or 3. I don't know. We'll figure out the logistics of it, but we're going to do that like once a month just to go back through the show.
It's going to be me, you, and your great aunt Gertrude.
You don't know anything about Gertrude.
Believe me.
Gertrude's a great woman, and don't you dare go any further talking about Gertrude.
Oh, gosh.
I can't even pronounce Gertrude. How do you say it?
Gertrude.
I don't have an Aunt Gertrude. My Aunt Sheila's a saint, if you were to say Aunt Sheila.
I haven't met a Sheila I liked yet, so
oh, no, you've done it now. Well, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead. You get 8 extra podcasts a month, minus last week.
At a minimum.
Yeah, we were on vacation last week. But you get 8 extra podcasts, minimum a month. where we talk about everything from The Walking Dead to what we did this weekend. If you want to get to know us a little bit better, that is the podcast to listen to. And again, for as little as $1 a month. We're definitely going to start setting up some tiers. I think we might start doing, we've been saying this for a while. Just bear with us, guys. JP's got like 5 jobs. I've full-time radio gig. So, but we've got tripod, so we're getting set up. We're going to start doing video Patreon casts, and perhaps, the $5 and hires can access the video podcast, whereas, the dollars, you get the podcast, but it's audio. And then, we'll go up and more for tiers because we got some people donating just way more than I would have expected anyone to want to donate to this show. So, of course, we want to do something for them to give them some kind of things. But so check it out. Well, that's something we'll never change, though. You'll never see us be like, all right, now we're pulling these podcasts for the $1 a month, just because we'll keep it. We're just gonna try and make it better for the different tiers. But so check that out, and we'll catch you back here on Wednesday for Weird Wednesday. Patrons, we'll catch you tomorrow. I'm Justin.
I'm JP,
and we're the Podcasting Dead.